Today, my topic what has been given to me is understanding cybercrime. And the second portion of it is we are going to go into how an FIR is actually registered. So let us try and understand, number one, what is cybercrime? So the cybercrime law actually originated with the adoption of the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. So we can say that it was an incidental law or an add-on law. The primary purpose of the IT Act, the Information Technology Act of 2000, which came into effect on 17/10/2000, was as a result of an adoption taken by the UNC ITRA on 12/6/1996, something known as the Model Law on Electronic Commerce. The reason being that electronic e-commerce was growing and they wanted a uniform law to govern the e-commerce in the United Nations world or the rest of the country, so that there is a smoothness in conducting business. So that's how it came about. But the Parliamentary Committee, while enacting the Information Technology Act, in line with the Model Law on Electronic Commerce, which was adopted at the United Nations, decided to add a chapter. This chapter was known as offense. Now we refer to as cyber offense. So first let us understand one thing, that is, what is the jurisdiction of the Information Technology Act of 2000? Then I will try and give you a definition at a later stage. But let us first dissect what are the components of the IT Act. Number one, if you read section 1, clause 2, I'm going to be very technical because there's no other way to reach my destination, making you aware. If there was, I would have taken, but there's no other way. I have to be technical. So section 1, sub-clause 2 and section 75, if you read, the territorial jurisdiction alone is not confined. If the computer system, if an act or a conduct constituting the offense or contravention involves a computer system or a computer network that is located in India, irrespective of whether that website or all that operation that is taking place is outside India, it does not matter, because the IT Act will apply. That's one. We are just trying to identify the jurisdiction of the IT Act. Secondly, we want to go into what are the broad division. I told you that the cybercrime law is an incidental or an add-on law. So what are the other laws that defines, or that is, how can you break up and understand the Information Technology Act of 2000? Number one, chapter 2 to chapter 8 deals with digital signature and electronic records. How to create digital signature, how do you approach for creating digital signature, how do you validate electronic records, and so on. So you have something called the certifying authority who does all this aspect. And for that, section 17 appoints a controller. The second aspect is chapter 9. Chapter 9, I would call it as civil liabilities. So in chapter 9, section 43 to 47, if your computer is hacked, if any of your data, etc., is being misused, there is a component of civil liability that you can approach an adjudicating officer. He will be appointed not below the rank of a director, either in the state government or in the central government, and he will adjudicate as to what is the compensation, the penalty that is to be done. So, before we come to the offense, we have two authorities. One, the controller, that is the certifying authority for e-commerce, e-documents, and e-signatures, etc., or digital signature. Then you have another mechanism, that is civil liabilities, that will be decided by the adjudicating officer. Both these officers, or certifying authority and the adjudicating officer, if you have a grievance against them, Chapter 10 provides for an appellate jurisdiction. appellate jurisdiction, they were supposed to create, and they created something called the Cyber Appellate Tribunal. But in 2017, on 26/5/2017, TDSET, Telecom Dispute Settlement and Appellate Tribunal, this is under the Gurugram regulatory. So they said that the TDSET will be the appellate tribunal for the purpose of the certifying authority and the adjudication authority dealing with your civil liabilities in case there's breach of data, there is a violation, there's a wrongful cause to you, any suffering that you have that can be compensated or penalized, this will go to the appellate authority. The appellate authority will then, you have a provision of filing the appeal to the Honorable High Court, and from appeal to the Honorable High Court, if your grievance is there, Article 136 of the Constitution, you can come to the Supreme Court. That talks about the first, digital signature in electronic records, second, about the civil liabilities. Then we come to the criminal liability, or the criminal aspect of it. So before we go to the chapter, this criminal liability is under chapter 9, which is titled offences. It has section 65 to section 78. But these offences that are listed in chapter 9 of the ITA Cooking Council is not an exhaustive list. Assuming the offence is not mentioned in chapter 9 of the ITA does not mean that it is not a cyber crime for a cyber offence. It is not an exhaustive list, rather it is an inclusive list. Now, interestingly, if you ask me, please define cybercrime, I cannot define cybercrime as per the Act, because the Act does not define what is a cybercrime. So, how do we understand what is a cybercrime? So, if you go through the sections in chapter 9 of the ITA, it talks about 3-4 things. Number one, a computer, which is also part of computer software or communication facilities. It talks something about called computer network, that is two computers communicating with each other, and the system that is used to communicate. That is called computer network. Then you have computer system. Any device that you use, maybe a printer, maybe your mouse, maybe your keyboard, anything to access your computer is also part of the computer system. And this entirety is called a computer resource, and has been defined specifically. So apart from that, we have something called a communication device. And it says a communication device means cell phones, or personal digital assistants, or combination of both. So your mobile phone does constitute that if anything happens in a mobile phone, it comes within the sphere of cybercrime or cyber offense, apart from the computer, which we just talked about. So communication device is also one important thing that we have to keep in mind. The computer and its system and network is also something we have to keep in mind. And apart from that, we have something called the electronic form, which means anything that is sent, the data itself that is sent. Once you send the data from your mobile phone, from your computer, from your email, through Bluetooth, however data that is being transpired, that is called electronic form. If you send it in an electronic form, that will also constitute within the sphere of a cyber crime. So even though cyber crime is not defined, we can understand it this way, that if any crime is committed, we know the Indian Penal Code, and subsequently in 1st July 2024, the new Act BNS, if any of the offences under the IPC or BNS is committed through a computer, through a communication device, or if it is committed through an electronic form, that itself would constitute a cyber crime. That is what we must understand, that even though it is not defined, we can infer from the statute how it is described it, that this would be a cyber crime. The other way to look at cybercrime is that there is a national portal called the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal. There they have defined it this is how the government of India understands what is a cybercrime. It says, any unlawful act where computer or communication device or computer network is used to commit or felicitate the commission of a crime. So any unlawful act involving a computer, communication device, or a computer network that is used to commit or facilitate the commission of a crime, that will constitute something called a cybercrime. So we have an idea of what is a cybercrime, even though it's not defined in the statute, by way of inference by reading chapter 11, and secondly, by the unofficial definition given in the official portal of the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal. So we have an idea of what the cybercrime is. So now let's dive into chapter 11 of the IT Act. The first aspect would be data and system security. Because you have lunch, so it's most likely that you'll be finished sleeping. And it's a natural thing. So don't worry about it. I'll keep on rambling because it's my duty. You do your part to the best of your ability. I am not offended at all. So don't worry about that. Division, number one is we are trying to define the inclusive list of cybercrime that is there. We are trying to understand and break it up. One is data and system security. Like section 65, it says if you alter and destroy or conceal the source code. What is a source code? Every program has a source code. If you are making a program, you need the source code. You create the source code. If you are altering, destroying, concealing the source code, that means you are affecting the app, you are affecting the program. That is a crime. So there it's 3 years to 2 lakhs. Then there's also hacking, data theft, etc., etc. Section 66 talks about it. Here it is, you have to read it with section 43. Section 43, the civil liability. But if there is a criminal element to it, it will come under section 66. The entire activity or action of hacking, it can have a civil liability or it has criminal liability under 66. So you have to read section 66 along with 43. This is also 3 years or 5 lakhs, up to 5 lakhs they will be fined. The problem with these two is that altering or destroying or hacking or data theft, etc. The problem or the critique they say is that number one, it is only up to 3 years. If it is up to 3 years, it is a bailable offense. Bailable offense and non-bailable offense. If you are a lawyer, you'll know. If you are not, a bailable offense means you will get bail in the police station. Non-bailable offense means you will not get bail in the police station, but you will get bail in the courts, either before the magistrate, either before the session court, or before the high court. The provision is prescribed. So, if you get bail at the police station, a person is not deterred to hacking your data, to hacking your this thing, because he will get bail immediately and the trial will take forever. So this is one criticism, that hacking a personal data is a very, very intrinsic part of right to life. If you read other judgments of Supreme Court, subsequently they have held that your privacy, your data, all this constitute your right to life. And so it is a very intrinsic part of our fundamental right. And it is not being deterred because it is only up to 3 years and you will get bail at the police station itself. That's what we are talking about, data and system security. So if you dishonestly receive stolen computers, resource or communication device, if you buy a stolen phone, that is also dishonestly receiving. If you unknowingly receive, it's fine. But if you dishonestly receive, that can constitute an offense under section 66B. Then you have the protected system under section 70, like the AoR database, defense network, power grid, banking infra, and other, where if you are participating in hacking, your mobile number is used, your bank account is used, or whatever resource is used for accessing the protected system, then that will also constitute a breach of data. It is punishable up to 10 years only. Then there is something called Section 66F, capital F, which talk about cyber terrorism. If you with intent to threaten the unity and integrity, security, or sovereignty, and you strike terror in the people, then you will become part of something called a cyber terrorism. So that goes up to life imprisonment. May not be applicable to us, but be careful of the content which you are sharing and the content you are doing, just for our knowledge. Then you have work-related things, Section 72, 72F, breach of confidentiality and privacy. You give certain information to your employer, digital information, all your documents is scanned and it's taken over. Now, without your consent, that is shared, not for work purpose, for any other purpose, without your consent. That is a breach of confidentiality and that's a breach of your privacy. And that's punishable under Section 72 up to 2 years. So 72A is also a breach of the law of contract, where without your consent, your data is being misused, your pictures is being misused, anything is being misused by your employer. That may constitute work-related breach of confidentiality and privacy. Then we have something as compliance by intermediaries. If you ask me who is the intermediaries, the first thing I will say is Facebook, Instagram, maybe your WhatsApp, intermediaries, those who host, those who provide platform for you to post, for you to do certain things. They have a duty under these sections 67C, 69, 69A and B. It says the government imposes a duty that the intermediaries, they would preserve or retain certain information. So the government can direct these intermediaries to retain certain information. It can also direct for interception or monitoring or decryption. So there are certain directions that the government can give to retain your information, and that is a legally binding on the intermediaries, and they have to share those information with the government. The other thing is 69A. It has the power to issue direction for blocking for public access. So the government or the government agency is empowered to give direction so that the public cannot access that document. This will become relevant when you file a complaint because of XYZ reason involving your privacy. So those powers are also given. And 69B, the government can monitor and collect traffic data and etc. for the purpose of cyber security, etc. They can collect your documents. And if the intermediary does not comply, then he goes up to 7 years, 69B is up to 3 years, so they can actually fail jail time. Here I want to just pause. We also, as far as intermediaries concerned, supposing Facebook has done something wrong, you set the legal notice, you tell the person that you have done something illegal. It is the duty of the intermediaries to take down those posts. If it does not take down the post, then it becomes a co-conspirator with the offender. Supposing somebody posts something about me, which is incorrect, it is defamatory, it is violation of the IBC or the BNS. I tell them this is a defamatory statement, please take it down. Supposing Google says, no, I will not take it down, or Facebook says, no, I will not take it down, in spite of me giving a prima facie evidence. Then when I file a police complaint, Google will become a co-accused. And this actually happened in one of the cases I worked with, where I was working with my senior, and they refused to take down the post on asbestos, some manufacturing that it was poisoning. It was not true, the company was. So we asked Google to take down this vlogging site, refused to take it down, and Google Inc., not Google India, Google Inc. is in US. So we asked that Google Inc. to be made a co-accused. They challenged it, Google Inc. challenged it. They went to the High Court. They came up to the Supreme Court and they said, how can we be responsible for something that was posted by somebody else? We have no access to the data. We have nothing related to the vlog. We were only hosting it. We are a notice board. If anybody comes and pin on me, I have a notice board. How am I responsible? But the court held that you are responsible because if you know that it is a lie, if you know that it is not true, and you refuse to cooperate, the intermediaries can be made responsible and can become co-accused as well. So that is about the compliance by intermediaries. Then we have 66C, 66D, where he talks about identity theft. Many persons have this where your identity is fraudulently and dishonestly taken. Your electronic signature, your password, your unique identification, maybe it's banking ID, whatever. If that is taken, then it becomes a crime under 616. It is punishable up to 3 years. Unfortunately, if you hear 3 years, it means it's a bailable offense and they will get bail in the jail, in the police station. So it doesn't act as a deterrent, and that's the peak of the law. 66D talks about cheating by personation by using computer resource. So probably I believe, they say that now morphing, voice cloning has become rampant. And they say that the IT Act does not deal with it. But I feel like that the IT Act under 66D has covered this aspect where you are being cheating by personation or using computer resource. I think that would attract morphing or voice cloning as well. And of course, online fraud and things like that. Now we come to the violation of privacy and image or material. So 66E talks about intentionally or knowingly, if a person captures, publishes or transmit the image of a private area of any person without his or her consent, that is an offense up to 3 years. You see the problem, it's again up to 3 years, but it is a punishable offense if you intentionally or knowingly capture, publishes or transmit. So a private area means is it naked or undergarment clad genitals, public area, etc., etc. So you need not actually be actually naked. So if that takes place, it constitutes an offense. Section 67 says publishing or transmitting obscene material. So 66E, that's 67, if you publish or transmit obscene material in electronic form, the first offense is up to 3 years. The second or the consequent conviction will be up to 5 years. So if you're a repeat offender, your punishment will increase from 3 years to 5 years. Once you reach 5 years, it will not be a bailable offense. You will actually need to go to the court to get bail. Now, 67A and B. 67A, publishing or transmitting of material containing sexually explicit act or conduct, etc., in electronic form. Publishing, transmitting, containing sexually explicit act or conduct, etc., in electronic form. The first offense is straight away 5 years, so it's not bailable. That means you'll not get bail in the police station. Then it goes up to 7 years in the subsequent second or the subsequent conviction. 67B talks about publishing or transmitting of material. This is called minors, children in sexually explicit act, etc., in electronic form. Publishers create text, digital image, collects, seeks, browsers, download, advertises, promotes, distributes. All this will constitute an offense under 67B with regarding, and the punishment is again, first offense is 5 years, similar to 67A. Second offense would go up to 7 years. That means both 67A, sexually explicit material, and sexually explicit material of children. They both are non-bailable in that sense, but you can get bail in the court. So this is how we know that we get an idea that how, number one, the ITM is actually divided, and how the chapter 11 of the ITM offenses dealing with electronics, dealing with your data, and dealing with your privacy rights in the form of sexually explicit material and things like that, which are taken without your consent, and how they constitute to be an offense. So now, we will now come to the next phase. That is, how do you actually register a complaint, or what should you do once there is an economic offense? So you may have seen, this is available in the YouTube and things as well, but I will just state it for the purpose of completing my narration. That number one, if there is an economic offense, you have to dial a number called 1930. You can say 1930, but I say 1930. I want you to remember that this is the, we have World Cup, FIFA World Cup. And I was told by my juniors that in 1930, the first FIFA World Cup was actually played in Uruguay, if I'm not mistaken. So that's how you remember the number 1930. If you want to remember this number in a localized way, in March of 1930, the father of the nation went for a salt march, the Dundee March. And so in 1930 probably is a significant year, probably that's how you remember. Once an economic offense happened to you, the first thing you have to do is within 1 to 2 hours, you will have to call this number. The purpose of calling this number and why the government has created this number is because once you call this number, you can actually freeze the account where this money went. And if you're lucky, you may not be lucky, but if you're lucky, and if the money remains in that account which is frozen, you will get your money back. If not, it is not. So I know of a case which comes back to Munirka, and this was a case that happened in Jubilee Hills in Hyderabad. One old person, his banking system was hacked, and he was duped of some few crores, maybe 14 to 15 crores. And that money, the cyber cell of the Hyderabad police, they were tracing him. And they immediately, he said, what happens is once the money comes into one bank account, it is transferred from the victim's bank account. It is then transferred to more than 100 banking accounts. Which are those accounts? Those are the bank accounts which you and I have sold. These are all sold bank accounts. We sell our bank account, it goes. So I was interacting with the cyber cell of Hyderabad police who happened to be here in Delhi, and they were actually arresting one of us from Munirka. And they told me that we have been to all over Manipur. We have been tracking this case. We have gone to Meghalaya, we have gone to Nagaland, we have gone to Manipur, but they said the majority of these bank owners are from Manipur. And they have been tracking. Some 15 lakh had come to this account. And they were tracking it, they were trying to know, they were picking her up, taking her back to Hyderabad. So this is what is happening. But the idea is this. If you call 193, you are able to block that account, freeze that account. And they have powers to do that. Once that account is freezed, if there is any money remaining left, you will get it back. If you're lucky enough. So these things will take within 1 to 2 hours. So within that window, if you are able to call 193, because it is impossible. People keep their mobile closer than their wife these days. And so it is impossible that your money is taken from you and you don't know it within the first 5 minutes. It is not possible. You will know it unless you are giving a lecture like me. Since I have no access to my phone now. You will know it. If you know it, you have to be, if you are suspicious of it, and you are saying, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do now? 1930, Dundee March, remember it. Call it. And once you call, what they will ask you, I will tell you. They will ask your name, your father's name, your address, They will ask about the name of the bank on the wallet, because we talk about wallet. Some of you will not be doing banking. You may be doing a UPI kind of a wallet thing. So your transaction ID is absolutely important. You need to keep your transaction ID in an economic fraud case, and then the date, the amount, and your bank account details, the transaction ID, your details. This is quintessential for you to actually ensure that the blocking takes place. Now, once you call, what will happen in 193? They get this detail and they will be able to process it, and then you will be allotted something called a complaint number. If you have the banking account details of the person, you can give it. And then once that is done, you can actually go to their website known as cybercrime.gov.in and you can trace your complaint. One. And what will actually transpire after the account is freeze or you are given the complaint number is that the complaint will then be forwarded to something called a cyber cell for registration of FIR. And if the website is not working, you will have to identify that cyber cell and actually go for a follow-up to those cyber cells. In Delhi, we have 14 cyber cells. I am told that every police station or the major police station have a cyber cell. In Gurugram, I am told that there are 4 cyber cells which is operating. So you will have to identify it and then go and follow it up, because there is a human element to it, and sometimes things do get delayed, things do get not followed up, even though they may have given your complaint number. So don't relax, go follow it up, pursue it by going either to the website or to the concerned cell, cyber cell in your area. Now, another aspect is, if you want to file a complaint, we have talked about your privacy of your image and things like that. Women and children related crime. Now, if you want to file a complaint, what do? Don't call 1930. Go to the website. The website is cybercrime.gov.in, and once you go there, you will get an option. Don't click file a complaint. Pause. Look. On the left top of the corner, you will see register a complaint. Click there. You will have 3 options. One option is women and children related crime. Second option is financial fraud, and the other is other cyber crime. So you choose, you click there. Left top, click register a complaint. 3 options will drop. Click this book. Let's assume that it is for women and children related crime. We click that. Once we click that, you will have 2 options. The next page will take the 2 options. Register anonymously, or you register and track. So if you register anonymously, you will straight away go to the complaint. If you say, I want to register and track, then you will have to enter number 1, your email ID, number 2, your phone number, and then you will get an OTP. You enter your OTP, and then you also follow the steps, and then you will log in. And then you will be sent to the complaint, the website where the complaint is there. So there's a checklist. They will give you a checklist for a complainant. So the incident date and time is important. Then you have to describe the incident in at least in a minimum of 200 characters. Then you will need a soft copy of your national ID. It can be your voter's ID, your driving license, your passport, your PAN card, or your Aadhaar card. Any of this ID card will be necessary as you are registering a complaint in the online portal. Now, in case of a financial fraud, the name of the bank will be there, or the wallet, or the merchant. Your transaction ID, I am saying this again and again, the transaction ID is very important. Always save the transaction ID, the date of the transaction, the fraud amount, and any other evidence, because you have an option to upload evidence as well. Now the optional or the desirable information is the suspected website's URL, the suspect's detail. If you don't have, this is optional. If you don't have, it's fine. If you have to fill it because it will help in the investigation. So, suspect's detail, mobile number, email, address, etc., etc. So those are the things that will be required as you are entering, you are logging in, and you are getting the process. Once you log in into this website, you have 1 hour's time to complete this process. The countdown will begin, and you have 1 hour's time. As far as the first category is concerned, for children and women, subsequently you will get 4 categories while you're filing a complaint. One is rape or gang rape, sexually abusive content is the first option. Subcategory, sexually obscene material. Then you have sexually explicit act and child sexually exploitative and abusive material. So those are the 4 options that you will get if you enter into this problem. You will have to choose one and proceed further, give those details and proceed ahead. So these are some of the things. But before I end with this, I think my time is almost up. Oh, it's already up. But so we are just trying to understand get an idea of what cybercrime is and what are the different types of cybercrime. And not only that, I also want to understand what are the different types of cybercrimes that is actually listed. So I just want to read it out. If it makes sense to you, it clicks to you, it may resonate something, it may save you in the future. So one category they have divided in the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal is online and social media related crimes. It has 10 subcategories. Number 1, cheating by impersonation. Intimidating emails, that's number 2. Cyberbullying, stalking, sexting, this is also number 3. Online job fraud, email phishing, online matrimonial fraud. I think we don't use it, so this doesn't make sense to us. But people do get fraud on matrimonial sites. Fake and impersonating profile hacking theft, identity theft, impersonating email, provocative speech for unlawful acts. So online and social media related crime. You can complain if it comes into any of this category. Then you have online financial fraud, Aadhaar enabled payments, business email compromise. Your business email, if it's compromised, many of you are entrepreneurs, you will start your e-wallet related fraud call and phishing there. And one of the fraud call, I wanted to give an example of what happened to my colleague. He said he was working, and while he was working, he was a lawyer. And in the evening, while he came back from court and he was working, he got a phone call. And he was talking on the phone and he was asking him, give me this data, give me that. And he kept giving. And at the last moment when the OTP was asked, he paused for a moment. And he said, because you always have it in the back of your mind, he said, go give your OTP. So he paused for a moment and he says, he said, who are you? And he asked a question. Once he asked a question, this person, you know what his reply was? He said, sir, aaj tu bach gaya. That is the reply a lawyer got. He said, sir, aaj tu bach gaya. And to jo karna hai kar do. You will not be able to trace me, you cannot do anything. What I am trying to say is prevention is better than cure. You can seek remedy, but if you are alert, it's an individualistic thing that a person has to know how to save data, how to keep your profile. If you're running a business, to keep a separate social media profile, if you keep your profile separately, to keep a close network, how much to protect the data. The data, actually there is an act that has come about in 2023, Digital Data Protection Act. But the data is very important. Now the another aspect which I wanted to tell you, which enlightened me while I was doing the research was, this expert was talking about it and he says, Why does a person only ask you for the OTP, the fraudster? If you want to access my bank, you will need my date of birth, correct? You will need my password. What about my password? Your amazing hyphen, this, that password. Why this fraudster is not asking for the password? The answer is your email is already hacked. He already has your date of birth. He already has your password. He just needs your OTP. We are living in the world, and I heard this from an expert. He says there are two types of people in this world. He says one who knows they are hacked and one who does not know they have already been hacked. And probably we are all under this category. We have been hacked, but we still don't realize it. So that is to the extent of cyber fraud that is going to happen. The entire life is in the digital realm. And this data is absolutely crucial and important in protecting and ensuring your life, your right to life, and how well you enjoy that life. Because once it is breached, it will unleash hell on all of us. So that is why they have made several acts protecting the data, and there are many other legislation that is being forcing a duty to the intermediaries of how they have to protect your data, and without your consent. In fact, supposing they have to expressly say, I'm going to use your data. You have a right to withdraw your consent from any intermediaries. You have a right to withdraw your consent. A hospital, if they take your data, you can ask them, if you are done with it, give it back. They also encourage us not to share your mobile. You are buying a coffee, said, give me your mobile. Why should you give your mobile? Can transaction not happen without mobile? So you actually giving your mobile, there would be a compromise. In fact, there was a case I was listening to where a person, you scan menus, right? Is this? So this person scanned a menu, and once he scanned the menu, a virus went inside. It was made in Russia, I forgot the name, it's called Cloud 29. And this virus, you need not click it. It automatically activates once it is gone. And the expert hacked into it, he saw that this was downloaded in CP, Connaught Place, in Delhi. So he asked the client, where did you go to Connaught Place? And he said, I went for a meal during my work time, a lunch break, I went for a meal. So they went and they studied it. He scanned, and that file was being downloaded. They tracked a young person who was frequenting that place because they were watching that somebody has installed this. The restaurant people have not done it. And the restaurant people, they are least bothered about all this. Cyber security is not very up to mark. So what happened was they found this person was frequenting that restaurant. They finally suspected him, caught hold of him and asked, and he said he was a disgruntled intern. He said, I was not paid by this company, a startup. And so I made a deal with the Russians or whoever was selling that, and I ensured that I will put it in the menu for scanning for this, and you have access to hundreds and hundreds of mobile phones. In exchange, you do me one thing. You ensure that the startup website is crashed. So their websites keep crashing until they go out of business. And this are being done daily. We also have the CBSE. If you watch the news, you know that the CBSE, whatever their thing is, it has been hacked by a very young person in his 20s or something. And he has been hacked again and again. He tried to defend it. So your data being breached, one, not to give out your data, you must protect, keep it close to your heart, keep it close to yourself. But two, if it is breached, now we have many other laws in place apart from the idea that ensures, that focuses on protection of your data, that also focuses on the responsibility of the intermediaries to set up something called cyber security, to set up checking facilities and things like that to ensure that your data is protected. You are also empowered to withdraw your consent, to give consent, and to withdraw your consent as well if you want to. So those are the type of things that we just wanted to, I just want to highlight a little bit and go about it. So I hope I have given you an idea. I am not here. See, my understanding of things is this. Number one, you need to know. Forget cyber law. Any rights. Number one, you need to know. Number two, you need to understand. Then only I can hope that it will be implemented in your life, in my life. My attempt today is to inform you something so that you get some knowledge, and hopefully as you pursue it, as you go about, as you try and understand, as you read more about it, you will come to a place of deeper understanding, and you will apply that discipline in your life, and you will not fall victim to cybercrime. And if you do fall victim to a cybercrime, you will know what to do. It is economic offense, or it is something related to your private chat, private pictures, or any other related complaint. I hope you get an idea of what to do, and I wish you all the best. Thank you for a very patient day.